Hi, everybody. This is day 1424, and it looks like pretty soon we're going to need to have a studio and, a full team just to give the news because we're at 1424 days since Richard was murdered on Fort Bliss, and we are still giving breaking news. Um, just it's unbelievable that we're giving the breaking news about Danae Katzen um, being, indicted for felony, that she's indicted for felony, that she's been through that, and they indicted her. And they indicted her on April 11th, 2024. Just 13 days before we were given the notice of death, she was indicted for felony. And, the media keeps that a secret, doesn't cover that. And, we have been very vocal in her misdeeds, her misinformation, her peddling misinformation, and with the recent arrests and the way that the media covered that, because they covered these arrests, right? Because of these open warrants of her and her husband, Jonathan Caleb Embrace, from Bliss Avenue. Um, and, something was really stinky with all of that, that we felt that we could not really respond to what was going on because of the way they were covering this and that. It didn't seem like the crimes deserved the coverage that they were getting without explaining to the public. And I'm going to go on to my Facebook, sorry, make sure that everyone can hear me. Yeah, there we go. Without explaining to the public how she is connected to the Walmart case, how she is connected to Richard's case, how she's connected to so much fraud. And, the way they covered it, it was just so shallow, and it was really stinky because we have been very, very vocal and very transparent in what has been going on in this criminal network that has been protecting Danae Katzen on Bliss Avenue, right? And in El Paso, this criminal network that has protected her, like Dirty Agent Marlon Soto. He absolutely protected her. And it was, so that they didn't mention all of this, that they are trying to control the narrative that the public gets. They're trying to pull a Bob Moore and El Paso Matters to control and tamper with the narrative that the public gets. Just really was stinky to us. And so we just kind of thought, okay, let's say some prayers here and let's evaluate calmly what's going on here when she was arrested, right? And now we feel the same way. Here we find out she's indicted for a felony, and that indictment came April 11th, 2024, 13 days before we received the notice of death for Richard. When and if you're just now joining, let me tell you a little bit about Danae Katzen. She has some history, and she was like this fix-it kind of woman when you went on the Facebook, when we finally realized what was going on. But when our son, went missing, and the Army never contacted us to let us know what was going on in El Paso, and we were far behind. And then they kicked us out, right? They kicked us out. They kicked Richard out of jurisdiction. I Crazy stuff, y'all. Crazy. When you know the whole story and you look back, you're like, what in the world? Because this was happening during the whole Vanessa Guillen, during Austin Hawk, during Caleb Smither, during Enrique Roman Martinez, you know, all of this other stuff going on during Glendon Oakley Jr. Uh, you know, no way should they have kicked us out to say we're not going to help you. And it was only because of social media, organizing ourselves on social media, that they decided to bring us back in. But when they uh, brought Richard back on the rolls and brought us in, we had lost so much time. And so we packed everything up in our truck and we moved to El Paso. We arrived there in September of 2020. So Richard was murdered in July of 2020. So you can see what I'm talking about, that we had lost so much time. And so when we got there, we had already gotten permission. We had our signs, we had our bullhorn, our megaphone, and we were had our team find Richard Halliday, and we decided to get on the streets and rally in order to talk with people there in El Paso and on Fort Bliss. And praise God that we are, you know, Rob is a 30-year veteran, retiree. We have access. Thank God for that. Um, and an idea of kind of what the military is like. We thought we did. We thought we knew what the military was like. Um, but so we got there in September of 2020, and less than 2 days later, I received a phone call from Danae Katzen, um, you know, saying that she had information about Richard and Richard's case and his whereabouts. And to make a very long story short, because we have it all documented, um, she was just giving us misinformation. She was part of a group. We know that now, that she's part of a criminal network, and that either she volunteered, which she had a history of volunteering to come forward, or she was sent and to mislead us. And, because already Belen Rocha had sent us a message to mislead us. And of course, Jay Paulin has sent, he didn't really send us a message. He posted on a veterans group, and that was then sent to us. Um, and it was to mislead the public. It was to mislead the public. So we already know that behind the scenes, this group was trying to mislead the veterans groups. We know that they were misleading the police, the law enforcement community. They were giving false information to them, uh, smearing Richard. So we know that they were doing that. We have the proof that they were doing that. We have the hard evidence. We have the receipts, as they say today, and much more. And so when we got there, and to El Paso, and so quickly, Danae Katzen contacted us, and we were giving everything. We were very quick to record everything. We had absolutely a sense of speed because we were so far behind. So we were had all of our contacts, and were contacting CID, believing that they were going to try to do something and help us. But you see, Dirty Agent Marlon Soto with Dirty Agent Tavita Nusa, they're part of that criminal network. And they protected her, and we didn't know that. And we were like, why aren't you calling her in to talk to her? Why aren't you going to interview her? And of course, we have a whistleblower now, that a very important whistleblower, that Marlon Soto never visited to interview. So he has this pattern in this case of not doing his job, of not wanting to interview, uh, and be thorough in finding out who murdered Richard, right? Because, which really shows that he's part of this criminal network, because there's so many examples, y'all. I mean, the hours I spent on the phone with him and documented everything. The proof is just, it's huge. It's huge that they were absolutely up to no good. And when it comes to Danae Katzen, I would call him and beg him to interview her. And it took a month. It took a month. And at the end of October, she was like, we could go to KTSM. I'll meet you at KTSM and I'll do an interview. And, we didn't know that she had all these contacts with KTSM. She had personal contacts. This is part of the, David Candelera is up to no good. And of course, this was Natasha Paloma. And right now, I really feel like Natasha Paloma's up to no good. Okay. Because either she's afraid for her life and she's protecting herself, which I think is pretty rotten when you think about the trafficking of children, the damage to El Paso. I think that's, but whatever. But she could easily find a way. She's a communicator, right? She's a journalist, or an anchor. She knows how to communicate, and she could find a way to communicate with us to let us know. But she knows exactly that we were absolutely honest with her, that we were very transparent. Whatever she needed, we would give. And it's just really, really heartbreaking that you would have to have a job like that and be so rotten, so evil, rotten, absolutely evil, rotten. There's no other way to describe Natasha Paloma's job, and David Candelera, and Danae Katzen having the red carpet rolled out for her, being in incognito. They blacked her out and everything, but we were there for hours, y'all. We were there for hours. We have witnesses. We took pictures. We took video. We took journal. We wrote everything down. We've documented it. The whole time at KTSM at the end of October of 2020. And, it's very, very clear that this is a criminal network that Danae is part of. And so this recent indictment, this arrest where she is in custody right now, because we were getting other information. And then today, this is really a shocker that she is in custody and that she's indicted for felony, right? Theft of service, which she has a long record of. And, she, I guess, had her wedding and didn't want to pay for it. And, but she already had problems with horses. She already had problem with saddles. She already had problem with dog service and nail service. And I mean, all kind. And she's just full, peddles misinformation and theft, right? Peddles it. Now, with that all said, you have to be calm and you have to think about what's going on, because for years we have been saying this, and she has been protected and protected and protected because she's part of this criminal network in El Paso. And all of a sudden, thank you for coming on, Anicia. Thank you, Kathleen, for coming on. Thank you for your prayers and your love. Can you believe this? We are right now worried about Danae Katzen because something is so stinky. No one is reporting that she's indicted. No one is connecting the dots on all of this. Look, this is 2 months. 2 months. It took, and so here we are breaking the news that she's indicted. When she targeted our son's case, yes, our son. He's our hero, our son, right? But he's American son too, because he is a soldier, a U.S. Army soldier. And we have to rally around our military. And when we have code reds like in Richard's case, and corrupt generals and corrupt lieutenant colonels that retaliate against a whistleblower, and they don't abide by the whistleblower protection, and things like this happen, and they throw the whistleblower like under the bus with the smearing and everything like that, and here Danae is targeting us, and she is connected through Bliss Avenue, of course through marriage, Jonathan and Brees, and that's a whole nother story. And then Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, who connects the whole cases to the Walmart case, and no one's covering this indicted criminal. I mean, because she's already a criminal. And, and they're just doing the little patty fingers around her. They're just covering this up. We are very afraid that maybe she had a come to Jesus moment. Maybe she thought, you know what? I don't think I want to live my life as a criminal anymore. Maybe I want to say, hey, I was sent to the Hallidays to give them misinformation. Maybe she wanted to come clean, because we've been asking people to come clean. We've been asking them, saying, look, you do not want to go through this until the end, because this is a capital murder case. And Texas does not go easy on capital murderers and those that participate with them. I mean, thank God they don't, because, we have enough murders right across the border. I was told when we got there in 2020 how many bodies were in the Juarez morgue, and right now they have 269 unclaimed bodies, unknowing bodies in the morgue in Juarez. These are, we cannot have a murdering society, right? We don't want murder to be a norm. And so, so that's what I mean about, hey, we need to have accountability. But we have been calling out, letting people know that we have, the preponderance of evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. We have it. We have it. And in her case, it shows that they had the evidence because they indicted her. They had to get together and say, hey, do we have enough evidence to indict her? And they said yes, because the evidence is there. But this is a criminal network, y'all. There is a criminal network. We have a usurper, Bill Hicks. We have a usurper, Bill Hicks, with a law firm on Myrtle Avenue. We have the Ortega family, the Rocha family. We have the Melendez. We have the Johnsons. We have, the lawyers and the law firms. And I wish I could have renamed this whole thing, but it's been so crazy with all the information coming in. And all we can think about is, oh my gosh, what's going to happen now? Because can we trust that they are going to deal justly with Danae Katzen? Because we have a usurper as a prosecutor, and the people that are surrounding him are up to no good. We have a illegal medical examiner there for the chief medical examiner of El Paso, and he's being protected. He's being padded. The people surrounding him, like Veronica Escobar, like Joanne Bernal. Joanne Bernal rather give her resignation than out Mario Raskin Ortiz. She rather give her own resignation than tell the people of El Paso, we have years of botched cases because our medical examiner, who we pay hundreds of thousands of dollars, $438,000 a year right now, more than that, is unqualified for the position and is illegally in this country. And so now we are supposed to believe, oh, she's indicted, they're going to take good care of her. You have Patrick Crucius for 5 years not even getting a mental health evaluation for the millions of dollars that has gone to that case, and not even a scheduled mental health evaluation. And we're supposed to and he's in isolation with a severe mental health condition. And, and I am not saying that he's innocent. He's been proven guilty, right? What I'm saying is that this is not just, these people are not operating properly. And we can't trust them to justly handle Danae Katzen. And if the prosecutor is botched and the medical examiner is botched, how is her case going to be? Is it going to be a botched case? Are we going to get justice? Because she's harmed so many people, including, look, when she came in September of 2020, and I have the live streams to prove it. I have the witness to prove it. I have the documents to prove it. I have the evidence to prove that when she came and nobody was doing anything to her, and I was believing her, I cried for her. I thought, my goodness, they are not even giving her protection. She's coming forward. This is the military, and and I always knew Richard had been murdered, so I was afraid for her life. And then I figured out she's part of this criminal network, and it was very difficult to accept that there's a criminal network right there, and that she's part of it. But even in criminal networks, they sell each other out, right? I mean, I think the Walmart mass shooting is, that was orchestrated. And there, y'all, the victims, you have to go through the victims. It will blow your mind. Something is very stinky with that. And so, I don't think there's any honor amongst thieves. And these are thieves. Very deadly thieves. And just think about what happened to Glendon Oakley Jr. Think about what happened to Asia Graham. Think about Major General Eisenhower. I mean, he is like a statue. He cannot move. He's not a general. He's a general by uniform, by his stars. But he can't move without being told what to do. It is the strangest. It is clearly a criminal network. And it's not the will of the people there that are controlling things. I have great news. God is the one controlling things. Because can you imagine how far we have come? That we even received the declaration of death? That was huge. God's hand is all over this. That we received this breaking news today, even though it's 2 months in, right? April 11th, 2024, Danae Katzen Gonzalez Zambris was indicted on felony charges. And she is connected to the Walmart mass shooting case. She is connected to the murder of Richard Halliday, the whistleblowing soldier. And where is the news? Where is the social media news? Something is stinky, and I'm worried about her health. I'm worried about her well-being. I'm worried about her safety, because if she was saying, "I've had enough. I just got married. I'm rotten." If she's had that confession moment, where you go to confession to God, and it is the cure of souls, right? It's a cure of souls. And she wanted to turn a new leaf. Maybe she wanted to pay everything back. I don't know. They've got this $400,000. It's just crazy. I don't know. But what I do know is something is so, my spidey senses are all up, and I'm afraid. And you can call me naive, you can call me whatever. Maybe it's because I'm a mom, maybe because I always feel like there has to be hope for each individual. I mean, I can't tell you how much I've cried over Belen, because I know these young people are groomed. I know I think about Dallas, and I think about his life. I think about what his mother wrote in the affidavit. And how can you do anything else but cry over it? This has been hell. To think about our young people being in these families that just groom them in such terrible ways. Terrible. And Belen calls Richard, "You're so weird." Yeah. Yeah. Because she does not know that there was something better. She just thought it was a normal, because she's in this criminal network, and it's got to end. We've got to hold them accountable. And you think that Danae, Uh, I don't think this. Not, I don't want her to be let go. I want to hear. I want it to be covered. I want justice there. I want them to handle her justly according to the law. Protect her according to the law until we have a verdict, a true verdict. And then justice needs to be served. But all of this, uh, you know, skewing justice, and I mean, just think about the people that they've tried to hurt. What is it, Jeffrey Epstein? They absolutely, come on, he didn't hang himself. Am I allowed to say that? They're probably going to delete me. Look, something is fishy. Something is fishy with that. Something is fishy with this. And we should have freedom to talk about it. But because we have these criminal networks that have infiltrated our beautiful uniforms, our beautiful constitutional government, right? Our republic. They've infiltrated. And, is it our fault? Have we been lazy? Do we not have a gut to, the guts to oversee things? And I think the time has changed. I think people do have guts now. I think people have understood what's going on now. And that's why I feel like, they could be really trying very, very hard to save themselves. And I just am afraid for Danae's life right now. I really am. And I've been afraid. This is nothing new. I've said it many, many times. I've said it many times. And in September, I said, September into October of 2020, I said it all the time. What are they going to do to her? And, of course, since then, so much has happened, and we heard her interview with the network, the criminal network PI. There's no other way to explain him, part of the criminal network. So we know a lot. We've heard her a lot. We watch her. And we have said, come forward. You don't want to be connected with a capital murder crime of a soldier. And this is, also an international crime. And, geez, I wanted to tell you about this. So, we've been in contact with the Trump people. We've been in contact with the Mexican, the new Mexican government that is forming. Okay, so this new cabinet that's coming up, they absolutely know about Richard in Mexico, because this is an international crime, right? And I will tell you this too, that the DOD did provide us with the beginning of claiming Richard's remains being partial, whatever. It's begun. And, all of this news is huge for us, and I really wanted to talk more about them. And then we heard about Danae being indicted, and, just trumped everything. But No pun intended. So let's see if I have anything else on my list here. I'm just shaken because I do I do fear for her life, and I think please share this information. You know, I don't we don't monetize, right? We don't monetize. We want no conflicts of interest at all. We want people to share this story because it's important. It's really important for El Paso. It's very important for El Paso Juarez relations. Can you, yeah, when we hear that the new president, not the state of Chihuahua, we're talking about the new president of Mexico and her cabinet, and that they know about Richard's case, that they absolutely know that this was an internal murder on Fort Bliss. Can you believe it? And that this is international because of remains being found in Mexico. Um, yeah, that is that's huge. That's huge. So I'm fearing for her life. I really am fearing for her life because if she saw what was happening, and I know she, because let me tell you, I um I posted the car interview, and within like 10 seconds, 5 seconds of posting it, she called me and said, this was in October. Okay, this was in October of 2020. She called me and said, "Oh, you got to change my voice, mute my voice or something. Don't, take that off." So I did. But what I'm saying is they are watching, they're paying attention, they understand what's happening. She absolutely knows what's happening. Thank you, Danielle, for coming on for with your prayers. Um, we had this breaking news with Danae being indicted, and that happened April 11th, 2024, and hasn't even been covered. We are breaking the news 2 months later. So, now that should raise the red flags. It sure has with us. And we're just saying she's paying attention, they're paying attention. She knows that we've been asking people to come forward. Do not be part of this case without coming forward and saying what you know, because you're going to need everything on your side going through this. And if she was coming forward, and I just feel like there's a chance of that, or maybe there's a different reason, but that they are covering this up in the way they're handling her, I'm afraid for her life. If they've done what they've done to Patrick Crucius, we've been watching Patrick Crucius closely for 2 years now, right? What they've done is so unjust, so unconstitutional, so inhumane. He should have absolutely had a speedy trial, being whatever the outcome. Or the state could have let it go, and he could be in the Alcatraz of the Rockies right now, serving 1,000 years. And save the taxpayers a lot of money. They don't want him talking to anyone. They want him in isolation, right across the street from the courthouse in El Paso. And, every day that goes by, time goes by and people forget. They orchestrated, this is my opinion. Okay, very educated opinion, very documented opinion, very lots of evidence opinion. They orchestrated that Walmart mass shooting case. They orchestrated that Walmart mass shooting. Absolutely, there's no doubt in my mind. And so if they're going to treat Patrick Crucius like this, um, I fear how they're going to treat. They're going to put her in isolation for 5 years, so she can't say anything about the one. Because look, she's not just indicted for a felony of theft of services. She's part of the Richards case, but she's part of the Walmart case also. She has a lot of information because she's part of that criminal network. She's got a lot of information. And so please share. Please share this. Um, and, because they need to handle her like the law says, justly, justly. And, the only way I think that's going to happen is if this story gets out. Because I'm just afraid for her life. They are going to keep her in protective custody. Uh, she's been in protective custody. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Danielle, please keep asking those questions because I will find out. With our El Paso connections and sources, I will find out. And we need to ask a lot of those questions right now. And I don't have that beautiful legal mind that you do. Um, I've just been learning as we go, right? So I can tell you this: we just don't stop writing letters. We just don't stop. I don't know how many we put out today again. We just don't stop. And so, because asking questions and documenting, remember, to prosecute, you have to identify the crime, right? And the criminal. And then you have to document it. And we've become the prosecutor because Bill Hicks is a usurper. So I'm not saying I'm a prosecutor in the core, to go further. Of course, I cannot do that. We cannot do that. But we can absolutely identify the crime and document it for everybody. So, and we have all kinds of plans on continuing to share this information and document it everywhere, so that when hopefully Yvonne Rosales will come back and it will be right there for her. She can validate it, confirm it, whatever, but and then she can get right to the prosecuting part. But we need our criminal justice system. So I'm just going to give you what I know right now, that Danae Katzen was indicted for felony charges. We do have the case number. It was for theft of service. We know who her lawyer is, and that's very interesting too. and it was on April 11th, 2024. And so tomorrow, I think we'll have more information for you. So thank you so much, everyone. God bless you. Please share this, and we will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.